Welcome back to the MotoGP paddock. It's getting down to crunch time in terms of the championship, which means every inch of these bikes needs to be absolutely perfect. So for this week's piece of the week, we're going to be talking handlebars and controls with the Sky vr46 Moto2 team. This is Samuel, or as the team like to call him, Brito. He is the data engineer for Marco Bezzecchi, and today he's going to be showing us around the handlebars and also the controls. So Samuel, let's just start off right at the beginning, as we like to on Piece of the Week. I'm guessing, in terms of describing what the handlebars actually do, it's pretty clear cut.
So this is the part of the bike, the handlebars. This is an important point for the rider because he can ride the bike. It's a main point for make the force, for make the change direction. Also, it's important point because for the rider, for feel good the front, because the front wheel is very important when the rider ride. We find here the throttle, the brake front, and the clutch lever. And this is like a standard bike. After we have the protection here. Is mandatory because it's for the security. Yeah. Because if there is a contact with other rider or other bike, it's important for protect the front brake.
What's that button for?
This button is for is the kill switch, and this is for stop for power off the engine.
This is me being silly. I thought it was going to be more technical than that. Of course, it's the kill switch. Okay, and the other thing that is simple, but it's maybe interesting for people to know, is that the handlebars are actually in two pieces.
The handlebar are two pieces, but it's very important to be in the same exactly position for the rider. It's possible to change and to make your setting, your best setting.
So, run me through all of the changes you can make to the handlebars.
The distance about the handlebar and the fork, or the angle, or how it's closed or open, like this. Also the position of up and down. Why
would somebody prefer their handlebars to be higher, or why would they prefer them to be lower? Is it just due to the size of the rider?
We can change a lot of things on the bike. And this is also an important setting because for the rider is important for the position and feel good at the front.
So tell me the differences then between Luca and Marco's bike. How do they like their handlebars set up differently?
I can say very different because also Luca is more taller. So, and also depend on the rest of the set in the bike, was the position of the seat, how is the better position for each rider.
So they're clearly a really important part of the ergonomics of the bike. It must be when you, say for instance, a new rider joins a new team, one of the first things you guys need to do.
For example, this year when Marco comes from the KTM to the Calex, this is a principal thing to do the first day. No, he sit on the bike and check the position. We regulate this position and made on the box to find a good position. And after the first run, for example, we check if we are comfortable or he need to change something. And after this point, we continue to work.
Is it quite an extreme thing to change though? So say, for instance, the rider's injured. Can you make changes on the handlebar in one weekend on one race?
You don't need a very long time for change the settings. It's possible to change, but when a rider like a position, normally he keeps.
So what happens when he crashes then and the handlebars get all out of shape?
We have pieces like we put on the fork, and the mechanics can make the exactly position like before.
So we have already done an episode on the Moto2 dash and we touched on the controls. But is there any difference from rider to rider in terms of their position as well? Maybe we can even just remind ourselves and run through the controls themselves, since I remembered the kill switch so well.
In this part we can find these buttons. The rider can manage during the race the engine brake, the rider turn the man, put on the launch control, or when the rider comes to the pit lane, put the pit limiter for the speed. And here we can find the kill switch for switch off the engine.
you can change their position at all, or you can change how they're spread, or is that pretty much fixed?
This is fixed and this is mandatory like this.
Marco doesn't have a rear brake.
He can manage good and he likes to have the rear brake on the foot, like standard.
It's actually pretty nuts how much ergonomics play a huge part in rider performance. Make sure you join us next week for the final